Guys, welcome to another awesome episode of the Boston Chris podcast with yours truly, Boston Chris. And man, this week we have one heck of a guest with us on the show this week. His name is Zak Webb, and he is the recent 2024 Male Vocalist of the Year from the International Singer-Songwriter Awards, and just literally won that, and then he's a guest on our show. It's just amazing that we're able to get Zak on the show, and we get to talk to him about a whole lot of cool things, including his upbringing in music, his relationship with his parents, the loss of his parents, the role that his mom has played in his music even today, what it's like as an indie artist, as an indie songwriter, a full-time musician, balancing family with all of that, talking about songwriting, studio work, talking about the duet with his wife called Chasing After the Moon, plus he gives us not one, but two performances of live music right here on the show. Again, the 2024 Male Vocalist of the Year from the International Singer-Songwriter Awards, Mr. Zak Webb, is our guest this week on the Boston Chris podcast. Y'all check it out.
Hi, this is Mike Aiken. This is Amy Aiken.
Thanks for tuning in to the Boston Chris Show.
Hey guys, welcome to another amazing episode of the Boston Chris podcast. And guys, today we have a super treat for y'all. He is the recently named International Singer-Songwriter Association Male Vocalist of the Year. Look at the smile. That says it all right there. Zak Webb is here on the show. What's up, my dude?
How you doing? How you doing?
Going pretty well, man. I appreciate you doing this, man. Taking some time out of your schedule to sit and chat with us today.
Oh, absolutely, man. I appreciate you having me come in.
So Zak has actually sent us a couple of songs that he has played for the episode. That way we can kind of show you folks out there what he's all about, and what a great couple of songs they were. So the first one we're going to play is called Come and Get Me, and this is probably my favorite song that you do, by the way. I'd love the emotion in this song. I would love for you to tell us about the song as we play it for the folks out there today.
Okay, cool. I got you.
So tell us about the song. What's it about? And how did it come to be written?
So it was April. It was about maybe 2 years ago. Me and my cousin got robbed right outside our apartment complex.
No way.
They took all my guitars. Yeah, they took everything, man. It was tough.
Wow.
But, you know, the next day, I actually wrote this song. And this song is to me, it was just because I had so much pressure, you know, and I live under pressure constantly now because I'm the head of my household. I'm the head of my business, the head of the band, you know, just constantly being in a leader position that I put myself in. So it's like I can't break all the way down and, you know, wallow in self-pity on things that happen. You know, I have to figure out how to get to the next step, how to make the next move. And so that's what it was. It was like, you know, I was like, well, if the world's gonna come at me, come on and get it. You know, I told my manager, said, come get this ass whooping if you want it. Come on,
That's
come
amazing.
on, get it.
What a message from! I would not have expected that story behind this song, man. That's just such an optimistic outlook on what happened to you, man. A lot of people could have just given up right then and there, and you were like, "Nah, give me my guitar. We're gonna write about this right now." That's pretty dope, man.
Yes, sir.
So we're excited to show you guys this live acoustic version of Come and Get Me. I think you guys are going to absolutely fall in love with Zak. Y'all check it out.
Yeah, we get it and life is tough. We say we're fine, then call our bluff. It's hard to see the brighter side. The screams inside, they shake and blind your eyes. Well, let me just speak for me. I've had bad days, I've been real weak. It's hard to see my reflection today. I look at me and then I'd have to say, can't break down, got too many people counting on me. Won't back down, I won't compromise, desensitize the man I'm meant to be. I'm right here, right now, so come and get me. Come and get me, yeah. They try to break me piece by piece, but I've been shattered since 16. Been broken, no one ever paid the price. It's fine, I'd laid away, and me, I find that I can't break down. Got too many people counting on me. Won't break down, I won't compromise, desensitize the man I'm meant to be. I'm right here, right now, so come and get me. Come and get me, yeah, yeah. Can't break down, got too many people counting on me. Won't back down, I won't compromise, desensitize the man I'm meant to be. I'm right here, right now, so come and get me. Come and get me, yeah. Come and get me, yeah. Come and get me, yeah. Come and get me.
All right, so we are back, and we have the one and only Zak Webb here on the show for the first time ever, hopefully not the last. We're going to break the ice a little bit, though. First question I ask every episode, what are you drinking right now, man? What are your favorite drinks?
Man, I have been only drinking water lately. So I'm on this kind of like beginning to healthcare kick right now. So I've been doing probably about 2 months. I've been drinking nothing but a gallon of water every day. Now, granted, I still have like my Coke Zero and all that too, because I have diabetes. But you know, my favorite drink, you know, once I get done with the whole gallon thing, is that Crown and Sprite. That Crown and Sprite's where it's at.
He's like, yo, I got diabetes, but you know what? Crown is still going to be important in this life.
That's right.
That's amazing. Yeah, I've got diabetes too, so I feel you, man. My drink is Pepsi Zero, or Cherry Pepsi Zero is my favorite zero sugar.
Oh,
it's really nice.
Yeah.
It's hard. Man, those zero sugar drinks are hard to find, though, man. Like,
right. You can only find those.
Go ahead.
You can only find the certain ones in certain stores, man. Like, I found that sugar-free AW root beer, and I was like, oh, man, that's where it's at. Then I found the Big Red, too.
They also make the cream soda in zero sugar. The A&W cream soda. Super hard to find, but golly, is it good, man. My wife and I treat zero sugar drinks like a dang scavenger hunt, man. Because like you said, like every store has different ones. So, like, that's the first place we go is the drink aisle, bro. So let's get into some of the more serious stuff. Where did you grow up, my dude?
I grew up in Brownwood, Texas. It's about Central Texas. over close to Abilene, and right now, shoot, I'm living in Waco. But I was born in Corsicana, Texas, and I think I was just born, and then they brought me to Brownwood.
Corsicana is East Texas. It's down there, kind of near
Yep.
Palestine, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you have
Yes,
roots
sir.
here. I'm in Wood County, Texas, which is kind of north of Tyler. So I'm in East Texas
Okay.
myself. Yeah. So I feel like the influences always make up the artist, right? So whether it's life influences, musical influences, whatever it is, I always love to talk about the beginning of an artist, almost their immersion into music. So who were some of your first musical influences when you first started delving into music?
So both of my parents were both vocalists, so they play a huge part in not only just like my inspiration, but also the makeup of my voice itself. As for like Main Street artists, there's Stevie Wonder, Paul Simon, James Taylor, Kirk Franklin and his choir. You know, just all over the place. A couple of French artists that I don't understand what they're saying, but it sound good. So
That's what's up. So there's some phenomenal songwriters there. Paul Simon, Stevie Wonder, James Taylor. Man, you were on to the songwriters at a young age, huh?
yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir.
Because it's one thing to be turned on to an artist, but it's quite another to be turned on to a singer-songwriter. And you just named some really heavy-duty singer-songwriters, which is interesting, knowing where you ended up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
So,
sure, for sure.
so you did lose. You mentioned your parents. You lost your parents at an early age, and I know that they still have quite a big role, not only in your life, but obviously in your music too. In fact, the second song you're going to play later on in the show is kind of a testament to what we're going to talk about here. So tell me what role your parents had and still have, both in your life and in your music.
So I'm a huge mama's boy. I'm a huge mama's boy. My mom, she was in a lot of like plays and musicals, and so I got to watch that as I grew up. And I ended up doing musicals myself. Both her and my dad both performed. So like in Brownwood, they were like, okay, we're having this event. Let's have the Webbs come out and sing something. So we get to go. I used to go out and see my parents, be somewhat idolized in the musical community of Brownwood, and to see them make positive change in the community, just to be a part of all these different events and being able to say, okay, we're certain folks in this place. Now, my dad, he was in and out of my life, which that made me hard in a sense and have to grow up quickly and all that good stuff. But I
Hmm.
never take away from the good that my dad has given me. I when my parents split, weirdly enough, like they would still go to karaoke and they'd both sing the same song. But like with my dad, I'd sing my mom's part, and with my mom, I'd sing my dad's part. And so that stretched my range out. So that's where like all the extra highs and extra lows come from. As of now, I get told that I'm a lot like my dad, and I'm a lot like my mom all the time, where it comes to how hard I care and how hard I work and how much I forgive and how easily I can forgive.
And there is a lot of optimism and joy in what you do as an artist, and I can't wait to really delve into that because it's so noticeable, from somebody like myself who's kind of on the outside looking in. I really want to try to kind of own in on where your joy comes from, but that's going to be a little bit later. Now, having lost
All
your
right.
parents at such a young age, you just kind of mentioned this in passing. That probably forced you to have to grow up at a more increased pace. What kind of effect do you think
Yes, sir.
that had on your music? Now, obviously, if you're the man of the house at a really young age, that's going to speed up your maturation process just in a life sense. But what did it do to your music
Right.
later on?
I think like what it did for my career, like as if I've talked about it, like as of right now, it made it to where I don't have as many excuses as a lot of artists that are my age. You hear a lot of musicians that quit because of how hard it seems, and not getting the oh man, you did a great job, man. That's great. That's great. That's great. That's great. They get that first little criticism or beat down from the world, and they're like, well, you know what, man, I could do without this. This ain't gonna work for me, and they quit. But my first real show was a 4-hour drive, 104 degrees, and my car kept stopping because the radiator was bad and the tires blew. And so it was like, you can't have excuses if you really want to make it in this game, because I'm like, man, I still figured out how to pay my bills. And even when I couldn't pay my bills, I still figured out how to eat and how to drink and how to go to school and finish high school and do all those things without having what everybody else had in their homes.
Yeah, and I imagine that's something you had to learn at a young age too, because your parents were in that game, and around Brownwood, and so you probably saw that struggle firsthand too, like just them being part of the music business around there. I imagine that probably had a big effect on knowing, or not knowing, but just not letting yourself quit. You know what I mean? And
Right,
I love
right.
that.
And I think it's because, my parents didn't really fully step into their musical. Well, I mean, maybe they did step fully into their musical calling. That's between them and God. But, my mom was a principal and my dad was a counselor. They never fully said, you know what, I'm gonna jump full time
Right.
into being a musician and see where this goes. And so for me, that's a motivation for me too, because I'm like, my parents did a lot of great things, but if they didn't do this one thing, I'm gonna do it so I can share the legacy that they should have.
That's amazing, man. I love that. And man, I dig your vibe so much too. And like the song we played earlier in the show is just a small microcosm of who you are musically. And I want to talk about that so much. You have so many different styles, genres, whatever you want to call it within your craft. But you yourself have called it Americana Soul. And so this is the first time I've ever heard this concept kind of put that way. So what does Americana Soul mean to you? Like, what does that mean?
So Americana to me means melting pot, right? So it's a whole bunch of different genres, put together, a whole bunch of everybody that couldn't get put into country, couldn't get put into pop, couldn't get put into gospel, all those different things. That's what I am. But it's soul because that's where everything is rooted from. I began in soul. I began in church. I began, with Stevie Wonder and the Commodores and the Spinners and all that good stuff. So my whole bottom foundation is soul, but it meshes into this melting pot of whatever I'm creating that can be used in any other genre you spin it in.
Yeah.
So I just call it Americana Soul.
And guys, if you decide from listening to this or watching this episode to go down the wormhole that is Zak Webb's music, man, you guys are going to love it. It's so all over the place. It's what I call polyjamorous, right? Because you got blues, you got jazz, you got country, you got this and folk, and there's just so many layers into what Zak does, and it's so awesome. Another thing I noticed about you, I've never been to one of your shows, but I've watched a lot of video on you for the last couple of weeks since I knew this interview was happening. You seem to have a really special connection with your audiences that really kind of go beyond the typical fan and artist dynamic that I see typically. So why is that audience connection so important to you, and how do you cultivate that?
I think it's from like when I first began, and it was like I would play and there was like maybe three or five, three, 7, 10 people maybe. And it was always kind of small crowds, but it was like I want these folks to feel like they're having a great time, regardless of how small the crowd is, because I don't want them to even think that I'm disappointed, because I'm not. I'm here sharing something with you that's important. And also, when it came to just getting bigger and bigger, I was like, well, now I just got more people that I want to have a good time. And, I talked with one of my bandmates and I said, hey, he said, are you one of those guys who says, hey, I perform for the 10 like I do the 10,000, or I perform to the 10,000 like I perform to the 10? And I said, well, yeah, I perform to the 10,000 like I perform to the 10, not the 10 like the 10,000, because I want even all those 10,000 people to feel like they're in a personal meeting with me. And if this song is for you, I want you to feel every piece of it. You know, and the way that I do that on stage is, you know, there's a lot of shows where everybody doesn't pay attention. Some people, they always got folks on their phone, people in the conversation. But those folks that know, hey, this right here is for me, they tune in. And I look them in their face and I say, hey, this one's for you, me and you, you know. And it helps them either I'm singing about something they know, like I'm singing one of these covers that they know and they're just enjoying it. I'm singing a song that I wrote that they relate to, and that they're like, oh, I'm going through this same thing right now. Or I'm singing a song that's about hope and change, and it's like, okay, I may be feeling this right now, but I won't be feeling this sooner or later.
Right, and that I feel like that connection to an audience member one by one is so important to an artist too, because I mean, those people could do anything with their time and money that day. They chose you for whatever amount of time that they choose to be in that establishment. They could be at Jalapeno Tree, or they could be watching YouTube at home, but they're there for you.
Right.
And so, like, I've been streaming video games live for a really long time. I've streamed to 1,000 people, and I've streamed to 5 people. And, I mean, those 5 people chose to watch me play video games that day. So I focus on those 5 people like they are the 1,000. And so that's essentially what you're talking about. And that's the best way to look at it, to be honest. Now, you did mention cover songs, and we're both in Texas. I have a couple of questions about Texas not being country, fully country. You do have country vibes. But I guess the first question, before we get into cover songs, as an indie artist from the state of Texas, do you feel like it's been difficult getting noticed in a genre that isn't country music?
Very much so. Very much so. I've ran into many roadblocks in my career in the beginning. And also in the beginning, I started out playing in honky tonks. Mm-hmm. And so that was my first few venues that I ever went to. And so, I had my like 5 or 6 songs that I was like, okay, I know they're going to like this. And then I don't know where I'm going from there. I'm just going to figure it out as I go. Every time I walk in, of course, they're like, hey, we don't do rap music around here. I said, oh, I'm not here to rap. I said, I'm here to do some down home disco red dirt country stuff. And then, and so then I'm like, we're gonna have a good time. Let's just have a good time, regardless, because you say it's a honky tonk and you only like country, but if I do Baby Got Back, you're gonna be all right. I promise.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so we're talking about cover songs. I love that answer because the choice of cover songs is so important to an original artist. And people don't realize that, I feel, because there's so much pushback and so much division between I don't want to say division. I don't know what the right word is, but there's a lot of cover artists out there. And then there's a lot of original artists out there. And then there's a lot of people in the middle that do both. But here in Texas, especially in East Texas, the cover band kind of rules the frickin' world around here. So, as somebody who has originals, and really good originals also, how do you formulate let's put it this way, do you formulate a strategy with your cover songs to try to get people to listen more closely to your originals when you do play
them? Not really. Like when I'm at a show, I'm like, you know what? I think this is going to feel good. If I play this right here, I think they're going to like this one. Or I'm getting to the point where I'm like, hey, man, I feel it anyway. So if I feel it and I'm having a good time, that's going to spew out into the crowd and they're going to feel it too. So when it comes to, okay, I'm playing this cover, they're like, oh, yeah, they love it. They love it. It sounded good. All right, cool. We're having good time. And so I'll find an original that I wrote that almost fits like right in that pocket of that cover. Mm-hmm. And I either do that or I go completely to the right, to the left. Mm-hmm. I just like, you know what? Forget it. You're going to listen to a song I wrote. And I'm not going to tell you I wrote it because then if I tell you I wrote it, I done ruined the mood.
Mm-hmm. And how much originality are you putting into the covers you choose? Because I've noticed that about original artists too. I mean, you're not a jukebox, right? So like, imagine you're putting the Zak Webb spin on Baby Got Back, right? So like, how are you implementing your originality into the covers?
Man, it's funny because like a lot of people one of our favorite covers that we used to do was Benny and the Jets. And so everybody loved it. And it was one of those things where it's like, I only played it the way it was, made it so original because I didn't know how to play the chords of the original song when I first started learning it. And so I was like, oh, well, you know what? It sounds good right here. We're going to keep it right here, keep it nice and simple. And then, you know, another thing that we do is we usually merge songs. We make medleys out of them. And the way that started, once again, I just didn't know how to play the whole song. So I was like, you know what other song would fit right there? We'll see, and we'll try something else. And so, you know, everything just kind of grew on itself organically in front of people. And then they like it because it was more so of, I'm formulating this song for you to enjoy. I'm not sitting at home and I'm like, you know what I think they're going to like. I'm in the moment when I make the song.
Yeah, it's so smart. I'm glad that you see it that way too. I kind of figured you would, and I lined up these questions in a way that I thought you would answer them a certain way, and just based on what I've read about you, what I know about you, and researching and stuff. Again, still talking about audiences here, and we talked about joy earlier, and I really want to talk about that right now. I've never seen you live, like I said, but I've seen lots of videos of you performing. I follow your social media. And you obviously have incredible joy for what you do. And so, having lost your parents at such an early age, I'm curious where that joy comes from. Because a lot of folks could go the other way, right? So, where does that come from? Is it just that incredible passion for music, or?
It might be. You know, I never really thought about that before. I've always been a smiley type of person. At first, it was a defense mechanism because I didn't want people to see what I was going through. But, you know, they talk about it even scientifically. When you smile, even if you fake it, your body starts to realize, oh, well, I got a couple of things I could be happy about, you know. And I think what it is that I've been through so much, man. It's like I've slept in cars, you know, I've been in houses that didn't have lights, water, you know, I had to figure out and you know, fight to move. And it's, you know, I'm like, I'm living all right. You know, I gotta, hey, you get your butt inside. I got it, you know, I have things to be happy for. I got my wife, I got my family, I got, you know, this career, because, you know, not everybody has a wife, family, and career, you know, so I have to count my blessings. And there's a quote from one of Kirk Franklin's songs. It's like, you know, I don't want to be just happy because then I have to have something to be happy about. I want to be joyful because nobody can take my joy away, regardless of what's going on around me. And so I've never felt like, man, I just can't be joyous right now. I can not be happy. You know, I'll be like, man, this kind of sucks. But as for like, I got joy. You can't stop the smile. I mean, you make me giggle at the end of the day, and I'll be all right.
So is that something you mentally reach for if you're having a bad day? Just like, man, you know what? This is silly. I've got stuff here. Like, do you have a go-to? Like, you know, like we all have our struggles, we all have our worries and stresses and stuff like that. But like, for you to still keep that smile on your face, that's incredibly hard. I mean, it's incredibly hard to do that. So is there a go-to for you?
Man, I just think about my mom mostly. I think about my mom because, you know, my mom muscled through the game. You know, she went through a lot, and so she smiled through it. And, you know, and it wasn't like a fake smile. It was like, hey, you know, we are getting through it. We're not sitting here, you know, broken and in shambles at home and trying to fake a smile in front of people. We'll tell you, hey, we're going through it, but the sun's shining. You know, it's tough. It's tough, but we're gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right in the morning. We've been through harder things than we're going through right now. And that's how I feel every day. Any day that I have a bad day, I'm like, you know what? I've been through harder things at age 16 than I am right now. You know, right now I'm stronger. I'm healthier. And so this little misstep that's happening right now can't, you know, fully take away the joy that I got going on.
So it's just a testament to you seeing somebody else struggle with something far worse than you feel like you're going through right now, and seeing how she reacted to those struggles in such a positive way. That's your go-to, because then when something goes wrong, it's like, you know what, my mama went through much worse than this, and she smiled through all of it. So I can, by God, do the same thing, right? I mean, that's where you're going, right?
Yeah.
And that's quite a testament to her memory, man. Kudos on that. Honestly, that's really cool stuff. So you talked about
Sure.
your voice earlier. I love how I love how your voice was kind of created through karaoke. I didn't expect that answer earlier, but I do have a question about your voice that may end up turning into a few, because your voice is amazing. And the beginning video that we shared just shows your incredible control over that instrument. And a lot of people out there don't realize what an instrument vocals are, right? So I want to really talk about the nuts and bolts of that. I love the sound and timbre of your voice, and I love your knowledge of what to do with your voice and when to do it. So that's very noticeable as a listener, for me, somebody who's really listened to a lot of music over the years. Can you talk to us about your instrument, your voice as an instrument, and how you've learned to kind of use it better over time?
Yeah. So I started out in church. I used to sing at like beauty pageants and things like that, but I was in church, led praise and worship, all that good stuff. I think the main thing that I like about my voice, which was funny because, somebody said they didn't like it about my voice, was that it comes from like a theatrical place. And so, it's almost like every song is a movie. So I try to, you have I have inflex, and then I have the dynamics that I focus on. I focus on, the vibrato itself, putting it, in my chest, in my stomach, in my head, in my ears, having it, go fully through the range of motion. So then, or whatever the emotion is that's going through the song, I want it to be felt not just by the words, but even just by the tone. So then if I wasn't even saying words, you could feel what I was saying.
Yeah.
And feel what I'm meaning.
Very smart, because a lot of times when you're writing a song, the melody comes first. And so if you can find that emotion with the melody before you've even written those words in there, that can definitely help with writing the words in a more emotional way, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I love that. So now you are a full-time musician as well, right?
Yes, sir.
So tell
almost
us,
7 years.
7 years. Just out there banging it, man. So tell us the good and bad about that, man. What's the good and bad of being a full-time musician?
I mean, the great part is, of course, being able to share your art and being able to pay bills off of it. That's something that, not many just people in general get to do. Even people down to who like to create just, paintings, or, people who want to be entrepreneurs and, cut hair, all that, they don't have, some people never get to that point of, this is what pays all my bills. And to have that is a true blessing. I think that's one of the great things about it. Also, it helped put my wife through nursing school. So it helped, it was, me following my dream, help her follow her dream and become what she is now, which she's a director of nursing now, which is crazy in her, lane. But on the bad side, it is, you do have those days where you feel like, man, I don't know if I'm good at this job. There's so much to have to do with being a full-time musician. You have to be, forever presentable in whatever you've put out into the world. So how they see you on social media is how you got to be when they see you at Walmart. And sometimes I don't feel like being that way at Walmart. Sometimes I feel like grabbing baskets with my left hand. I don't feel like showing them I'm right-handed, all that good stuff. And then, you still, being a full-time musician, doing it as a business, you still have to deal with the everyday dealings of the every human, of like dealing with bills, dealing with, family, dealing with, friends, dealing with all that different stuff, and not being able to go to birthday parties and go to weddings and go to, graduations. And so, that was always not really a big concern for me, because I'm like, I can go without it. But, for my wife, I'm like, hey, I can't make Christmas this week. I can't make Thanksgiving this next year. My wife came to me and she's like, I wanna go see the ball drop in New York on New Year's. I said, baby, I probably will never have New Year's off the rest of my life.
Probably not.
I'll let you know that right now.
Yeah.
And so, but
that's the big money day, man. You can't take that day off.
Right. I said, I'll try my best to get a show in New York so we can do that. We'll try our best to see if we can see it from down the street. Get it going.
That's funny.
But
And I mean, you don't get to see other people's shows either, which is probably one of the worst things about being a musician. Is you're the musician, you're the show you get to see. Like I mean, you're booked Fridays and Saturdays, and I mean, a lot of yours is DIY too. So you got to do your own bookings, you got to do your own social media, you got to do your own everything really, and I mean, that's tough when you don't have a team. Speaking of team, your manager Shai is amazing. She believes, she believes in you big time, man. What an asset to you, man.
Yeah, she is the hardest working person I have ever met in my life. Man, when I met Shay, I was in the house, I didn't have lights or water, and I said, you know what? Let this motorcycle pass. I said, you know what? I really want to do this music thing. I do. I want to do this music thing, and I want to give it a real shot. She's like, okay, well, I got to see you perform. I said, okay, well, come on to the house, and I'll show you what I can do. And so I was in a pop duo at the time, and so she came to the house and said, can you wait right here for a second? And so I didn't even have an extension cord. I had Christmas lights ran from the neighbor's house to my house. And so I had me a fog machine, some lights, some speakers plugged in, and I performed right there in my living room. And that's when this relationship started. And so, we do, like you said, we have a team. Like, we break up all these different jobs between us two. And I'm working on expanding my team right now. And that's the hardest part too, because I don't want anybody on my team that's not going to have the same, dedication that we have right now.
Yep, they have to have as much to lose as you do, I think, right? Otherwise, it just doesn't work out. Like it's hard to find people that have the same passion as you in you, right? Because obviously,
right,
you are going to be passionate about you, and your wife is, and your family is, and your friends are. But finding somebody who works for or with you that has that same passion in you, it's really difficult.
Yeah,
really, really difficult.
Right.
Let's talk about songwriting. I've been blessed to talk to a lot of really cool songwriters over the years, and you are no different. So I would love to hear how your process works in creating songs. There's a lot of different ways, obviously, and there's no wrong way to create a song. Do the lyrics typically come first for you, or the melody, or does it just differ between songs?
It differs between songs. It's funny because just like I told you how I come up with those medleys with the crowd, and it's very much in the moment. When I write songs or when I put songs together, it's very much in the moment. I typically don't even put pen to paper until it's time to record. So we'll be driving down the road and I'll think about a situation. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and write that. That sounds all right. I'm gonna go ahead okay. And then I come back 2 days later, and if I can't remember it, I'm like, oh, that's not worth writing down anyway. Mm-hmm. And so, I never write it down on paper until it's like time to record. And they're like, okay, we need lyrics just so, everybody knows where everybody is.
Wow.
But as for, yeah, so a lot of the songs almost technically are freestyles.
That's amazing.
But
so you're not one of those that just has like copious notes all over the place and like a memo pad in your phone with like 400 different ideas in it all at once, and
it's funny because like I have pads with ideas in it, and I have my phone with voice memos on it, but I never end up going back to them unless I'm like, oh yeah, man, that sounds good. I remember it because like, I want songs that stick in people's head. So if it doesn't stick in my head, I'm like, how's it going to stick in somebody else's head? Yeah. And so I've written one song off of assignment, and that was When Mama Comes Home. Now that's a great track too still, but Shay told me, she said, I need you to write a song. And you know what? We already have enough songs about your wife. We already have enough songs about your wife's backside. We need something else. We need something else. And I said, okay. I said, all right, we'll try it. We'll see what we can do. And so she said, write about something that makes you happy. And I was like, okay, cool. And then what it really was just getting the gears turning and seeing how it goes. And I wrote this song about, what used to make me happy when I was little, because I was like, oh, when Mama comes home, we get to go do this and do this XYZ. We get to go have fun. So, and that's how that one was done. So I think that was the only one that I ever written that I was like, okay, I'm gonna write this down because this is an assignment.
Yeah, that's cool. So you're just walking into the studio with no songs and just just recording a damn album. That's amazing.
Well, by the time I get to the studio, I have it all written out and everything. Granted, I've gone on stage and I didn't have nothing going on. I just go out there and just figure it out. I tell the band what chords to play, and I was like, all right, here we go. Let's see what happens.
This goes back to the fake it till you make it, man. That's like the story here, right? The fake it till you make it. So since 2018 roundabout, about 6 years now, you've been extremely busy in putting out music at a pretty regular pace. So as a songwriter, what kind of challenges do you face in keeping new music always flowing?
Man, it's the same challenge in every portion of my business. It is finances. I have the songs, I have the musicians, I have the know-how. I produce a lot of my music, but if I don't, I got 3 other guys that I know that are ready to do it. I just don't have the funds to do it, and it's just because, I pay bills with my money. I gotta do this and take care of this. And so when I finally get that extra money to go in and put in on a new track, I go in and I do it. But until I can, I can't.
Well, let me ask you this as a full-time musician and really an independent one as well, fully independent. I mean, you can't get more independent than Zak Webb. How important is it for you to have new music as a full-time musician? Because you're already performing, you're already steadily booked, you already have music recorded. So what is it? What's in it for you as a full-time musician to even bother recording new music?
So having new music and putting music out constantly, getting the algorithm of Spotify boosted and all that, it affects the live shows. So everything you put out, the social media, the hey, how you doing, the this is where I'm going to be, to the music itself, all goes to when a venue looks at you and they're like, oh, this is Zak Webb. Well, he ain't putting no music out for like 5 months. I don't know if he's active or not. Mm-hmm. And so that's why it's like important for me to continue putting out music, because I don't just play in Texas. So like you can see, like if a Texas venue sees me, most of them will be like, oh yeah, because I heard about Zak because he plays over in Fort Worth, he plays in Dallas, he plays in New Braunfels. But if I want to send out to, because like I want to send out to Florida, I want to send out to Wyoming and all those different places, they got to be able to see from whatever they look at first. Okay, oh, he's got stuff going on. Mm-hmm. He's got stuff going on. He's got stuff going on online. He's got stuff going on his Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that. And so I, right now it's my YouTube's bad and I'm not releasing enough music. That's what I'm working on.
So it's all about relevancy, just staying relevant to people. And I mean, the music is good. So as long as you're continuing on that trajectory, you stay relevant and you stay busy, essentially. Yes, again, yes, I love these interviews because I have my outline and you're feeding me right into my outline, which is it's just so cool when I get to do this kind of stuff. So you mentioned the studio and you producing records as well, and my next question is about that. So you led me straight into that. So from the standpoint of being in the studio, how involved are you in the production and engineering side of your songs when they're fleshed out?
So I'm very involved in the performance of the track, and also the overall end all. Okay, that's what I want. When it comes to how much reverb I want, I like this, I don't like that. Put this here, put that there. Now, granted, I don't know much about turning knobs. I haven't got that good at it yet. But as for knowing what I like to hear and what I want the song to sound like, I go for it. On a couple of tracks that I got right now, it's only it's me and my cousin Jeremy. We play I play all the string instruments, the keys and all that, and he plays the drums. I think the drums is the only instrument that I'm like, okay, no, I'm not confident enough to play what I want from this instrument. So I need you to come in here and do this for me. But as for like the overall composition and the beginning stages of the studio work down to from the mastering track, hey, this needs to be tweaked, I'm involved in that whole process.
And that's the way to do it, man. And then that's why here in the 21st century, it's so cool to talk to folks like you, because in the 80s you wouldn't exist. I mean, sad to say, but like in the '80s, it was major label or nothing. Like you were just squashed out,
Right.
like an artist such as you. So it's so good to live in this time and place where folks like you can really shine with your own creative process. I love that. And I mean, the studio can be such a rewarding place too as an artist, I feel, right? Like you
Yeah.
go in there and that's
Yeah.
that's when your babies are born, so to speak. And so I imagine it probably gets pretty emotional to see your songs culminated. Do you have any funny stories from the studio? Everybody has a funny story or two.
Man. So, man, no, my stories are boring right now.
No way.
No, well, I mean, like when I first started recording, like we didn't even have a studio. When I was in that pop duo, I remember recording my first mixtape, and we didn't even have like a DI box. And so we recorded the guitar in a microphone on top of a dresser, and I stood on a table and record right into the microphone in the dresser. And then you could just hear people banging on the door. They were telling us to be quiet the whole recording. It was terrible.
That's called character,
Oh my
Zach.
gosh.
That's called character.
Yeah.
Oh man. So one song that I kind of gravitated towards because I love your relationship with your wife. Your love story is so awesome. I love how you really sing her praises so much on your social media too. I have a wife as well, and she is the champion in my family. And so I know how that is. But you have a duet with her that you released. It's called Chasing After the Moon. And I have to hear your story for this one. Tell us how the song came to be.
Oh, this is terrible because Chasing After the Moon is actually a song that I wrote for my ex-fiance.
Oops.
And and so, but it was when I was in the pop duo, that was when, and I always say, she was my first love. And that was it. I was in college. That was my first love. Now my wife, she's my last love. I ain't got no other loves coming after this. Unless I have a baby, then, maybe they're going to have to go halvesies. We'll see. But
that's not how that works.
When I wrote
that doesn't work that way. The baby gets fullsies, and then the wife gets like halvesies. That's how that works. You gonna find out. Out.
We're gonna find out. But I remember I wrote this song. I wrote that song in the back of a bus, going to church camp, I believe. And I was on a real like stars and lunar type kick writing phase of my life. And so, but then, as we got married, I asked my wife, I said, how about you sing this song with me? And so she started, because like every once in a while at some shows, I'll be like, hey, can I sing a song with my wife? And they're like, yeah. And she's like, oh, I don't know, maybe we'll see. And so she comes up and she'll sing with me. And I was like, it just sounds so good. I said, you know what, let's record it. And so it is definitely it was written for my first love, but it is definitely going to last through my last love.
Man, I love that. That had to be a tough thing, right? Like, hey, I wrote this song for this girl. Will you do the other part for me?
Yeah.
No awkwardness whatsoever, right? None whatsoever. Oh man. So again, we talked about this earlier in the show. Huge win for you in Atlanta recently. And again, the 2024 Male Vocalist of the Year from the International Singer-Songwriter Awards. So how does it feel as an artist and a full-time musician to boot to be recognized for all of your hard work?
Man, it's a crazy feeling because, at first I was like, I'm going to go win something. I ain't going all the way over there not to win something. But then, I sat there and I was like, this is kind of crazy. There's people from all over the world here. And, people I'm getting excited because I'm just seeing my name on the list. And then for them to say, hey, you're Vocalist of the Year. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, man, it's not just a accomplishment for my hard work as a musician from 2018, but it's an accomplishment of everything that I've been since I was able to speak. You know, this they complimenting the voice. This is the only thing. If I go out here and I don't have any kind of strings or drums or anything, I'm out there by myself in this body. And you're saying that I have, you know, the best one of the year this year. And that made me really, you know, because I don't really take time to appreciate myself a lot. And I think that's what it was. Like, it was a thing of like, you know, man, you know, you did that, you know, man, you know, all your hard work of just being yourself, you know, because it's hard work to just be yourself. People try to be everybody else, and that's because they're trying to escape the hardness of trying to just be who you are already meant to be, following the path that you're supposed to be following. And I felt very humbled by the, you know, the accolade that I have now surpassed, and getting ready to, you know, go back next year and, you know, see if I can expand on what I didn't win in the categories that I didn't win. Because I was nominated in 6 categories. And so I'm like, okay, in these other 5 categories, I missed a mark in some kind of way. So it's like, it's great because I'm like, man, I appreciate myself for this win. But in the business side, there's this side of me that needs to improve so we can keep moving steps up into the game.
It's that competitive spirit, man. It's that competitive spirit. That's a good thing to have, man. But I imagine that award's going to be validating for you too. We talked about, you know, having reminders for your joy. I imagine this award's going to be a mighty big reminder for your joy going forward, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I always feel like, so if you'll hear me talk about rock star moments every once in a while in the future, but the rock star lifestyle that I feel, you know, everybody feels like when you say rock star lifestyle, it's sex, drugs, rock and roll. But to me, the rock star lifestyle is I left the house with $5 in my pocket, got on a plane, went to Atlanta with 5 people, got in a hotel, you know, got back on the plane, we ate, you know, and I came back with an award. We left with $5. You know, of course, we came back with negative, you know, X thousand. But it's like going in and just doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you know, just not giving up on that dream. And then it's about music. That's what I feel rockstar lifestyle is. That's the activity that I want to be in. Is I've pushed myself. I've worked for this. It doesn't matter how far I fall in this situation, I'm still gonna get up and I'm gonna sing tomorrow. I'm gonna come back off this plane and I'm gonna figure out I'm gonna pay the rest of these bills and I'm gonna go on about business.
So on to the next, man. On to the next. And speaking of the next, man, you did you did another song for the show. It's called "Sing Sweet," and this is just an absolute man, just a heart-wrenching song. I love this tune. Obviously about your mom. You're a self-possessed or self-proclaimed mama's boy. I am as well, by the way. So
Yeah.
I feel you, bro. But tell us about this song. I would really love for you to take us into the room as you're writing this one.
So I wrote this song. I think I was just by myself somewhere, and I was really thinking about what I needed to do next. I was coming off of that moment of, man, I'm not good at this job. I really am. I'm not making the moves that I'm supposed to be moving. I'm not going as fast as I'm supposed to be going. But, you know, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And so then I started thinking about church, and I started thinking about my mom, and I was like, man, you know, that feeling that I used to get in church. And I kind of I got a groove. And so sooner or later, you'll hear the full version of this song, because I actually wrote this song bass line first. And so I came up with this bass line. It's real groovy. It's moving, you know, real gospel type move. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. I feel that. And I was like, I want to feel my mom, you know. And I like I said, my mom was a joyous person. So I got songs of peace that reminded me of my mom, but my mom liked to get down. So, you know, I wanted to feel that. And so as I started listening to this bass line that I put on repeat in my headphones, and I started thinking of memories of my mom. And the first line of the song, it says, I remember the smell of collard greens. And so it's like, that's waking up Sunday morning, and, you know, she's getting, you know, washing them, getting them ready. And it was, you know, my mom used to call me doctor. So it says, I remember the smell of collard greens, music on the radio. He said, doctor, come sing along. And so it's like, hey, I used to enjoy just being with my mom and singing, having a good time while work was getting done around the house. But it goes all the way into where I'm at now. And it says, Mama, if you could see me now, you could see how far I've come and everything that I have accomplished just because of the things that you've showed me how to do, that you've told me what to do, and I followed your directions and I did what you've exhibited in my life. And now it's like I have a fan base that knows my songs. I got, I sing on stages. I do the things that neither one of us imagined, because my mom, when my mom was alive, I was on route to be a scientist. I wasn't even going to be a musician, but it was always music was going to be a part of me some way or another. Right. But it's one of those things where I always say, I wish my mom could be here for this moment. And everybody says, oh, she's always watching you. She's always there. I said, I get that. But there's a big difference in seeing somebody see you do something and being able to get that embrace that I never will feel again.
Well, I mean, you could know something is true, but not know that it's true, right? And I know that doesn't make any sense, but like you can know that your mom would be proud of you and that she would love this song, but unless you actually witness it yourself, then that's the problem, right? Like I don't know for sure because I haven't witnessed this myself. I know she would be proud of me. I know she would love this. But man, that moment of actually seeing that is missing, and I get that. I love the song so much because it's a story, man. You are telling a story. It's visual. You feel throughout the entire song, and what you feel really as a listener is how big of a catalyst your mom has always been for you. In just the 3-minute song, and continues to be for you. I'm so excited to show people this song. It's called Sing Sweet, and it's by Zak Webb. You guys check it out.
I remember the smell of collard greens, music on the radio. You said, doctor, come sing along. I remember you told me I'd be something, always blowing my head up, telling me where it all comes from. You said, sing from your diaphragm, baby. Work hard and then sing sweet. Never let anybody ever tell you what levels you can't reach, 'cause everybody in the blue ain't bad. Always smile even when you're sad. You know I'll always be your biggest fan. And damn it, pull up them pants now. Truth is, I miss my mama. All of the time has ran away. I wish there was a way you could stay. Truth is, I really wanna play with your necklace and your hair. Remember the love that we both share. Truth is, I miss mama. I remember the piano in the house. You would play Charlie Brown. I'll never forget that sound. I remember you would sing all over town. You would wear a nun costume. I'd watch you control the room. I scream, sing from your diaphragm, mama. You work hard and you sing sweet. You never let anybody ever tell you what levels you can't reach. 'Cause everybody in the blue ain't bad. Always smile even when you're sad. You know I'll always be your biggest fan, 'cause you always took a stand. So truth is, I miss my mama. All of the time has ran away. I wish there was a way you could stay. Truth is, I really wanna Play with your necklace and your hair. Remember the love that we both shared. Truth is, I miss Mama. Well, Mama, if you could see me right now. My music's on the radio. My little fan base begins to grow. Hey, Mama, if your feet could touch the ground, I would invite you to a show, sing you a song and let you know that I sing from my diaphragm, Mama. I work hard and I sing sweet. I never let anybody ever tell me what levels I can't reach, cause everybody in the blue ain't bad. I always smile even when I'm sad. I know you'll always be my biggest fan. Now, Mama, check out my band. So, truth is, I miss my Mama. All of the time has ran away. I wish there was a way you could stay. Truth is, I really wanna play with your necklace and your hair. Remember the love that we both shared. Truth is, I miss Mama. Truth is, I miss Mama. Truth is, I miss Mama.
All right, so we are back once again with Zak Webb on the Boston Chris podcast. Zach, I got a couple more questions. You got some time?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, cool. So, first one I'm going to ask you is real simple, man. What are some of the future things that you have percolating for yourself? What's coming up? More music, more tours, more what's up?
Man, hopefully a whole bunch of a lot of stuff. I do have music coming out. I got a new song called Nobody coming out. Hopefully backside of September. But
Very
this
soon.
song
Nice.
right here, I have a series of songs that are I call musician songs, because it's like, musicians just have more of an understanding of what I'm talking about. So like Nobody is a song about when you're playing a show, and then you have people come up and give you requests, but you don't know the request. But then they get upset, you don't know the request. They tell you, hey, you know what? I appreciate you. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here if you can't play the songs that I want to hear at this moment in time. But if you don't know Conway Twitty or Snoop Dogg, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. So, and it's happened to me so much that I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna have to write about it. But it's a great song. People like it, and I think people are gonna realize that either it's like, yeah, man, I've seen that done before, or they're like, ooh, that's me. So probably should chill out. We'll see what it does.
Yeah, I've known artists that's happened to, and they just look at him and say, look, my name is not YouTube. Okay, my name is not YouTube. If you want Conway and Snoop Dogg, you need to go to YouTube. That's the way that is.
That's right.
So, last question I have, well, it's going to be one of the last questions, but this might be the hardest one for you to answer, to be fair. And that is,
okay.
Who do you think you are? Who is Zak Webb?
Man, that is a hard question. Zak Webb, man. I usually tell folks I'm 6'3". It's been nice and warm, so I'm a nice Dove chocolate right now. I am a product of my mother, so I love hard, and I want everybody to get what they want. I want people to succeed in their own ranks, but also understand that if you're in my way of my success, you're going to get stepped on. And currently I'm 300 pounds, so it's going to hurt a little bit, but I still love you.
Yep.
I still hope you smile at the end of the day, and I want you to be okay. I want everybody to, I am, like I said, I'm a product of Carolyn Webb. Carolyn Webb and Jesus Christ made this. Charles Webb helped.
I love that, man. So I always have a Mount Rushmore question. So it can be, I will let you decide. Is it Mount Rushmore? You can name your Mount Rushmore of songwriters, Mount Rushmore of favorite singers, whatever you want it to be. But let me know what it is for. So it could be Mount Rushmore bass players for all I know. But I'm just, what do you want it to be? And then tell me your Mount Rushmore of that.
Oh, let's do Mount Rushmore. Just overall successful artists.
Okay.
Yeah. Overall successful artists, in my opinion. And that's four, right? That's four, right? Top
you
four.
You only get 4. No honorable mentions.
Oh man. All right. Top 4. So overall success in musicians. I do feel Prince is on that.
Wow, what a start, man.
Prince, Stevie Wonder. I'm going to say Paul Simon. Daggone. Oh, man, that's rough. Because I do have 2 last. It's in between Phil Collins and James Taylor.
Ooh.
I'm gonna say Phil Collins.
Wow.
Because I like my Disney. So, you know.
What a 4, man. Prince, Stevie Wonder, Paul Simon, Phil Collins. Holy crap, man. Bringing it. Dude, I am a huge Paul Simon fan. Huge.
Yeah.
So to hear his name on my show today from you is really, really awesome, because I can't even tell you how big of a Paul Simon fan I am. He is so underappreciated in the world of music, in my opinion. Yeah. So much so.
Crazy.
They told him his voice sucks when he was a youngster. And that's why him and his buddy Artie had to go out on the road together, because Artie could sing and Paul couldn't. That's what they said. Right?
I did not know that. That's funny. That's terrible.
It is. But that's why it happened, and that's why they were so successful, because Paul would write the songs and Art would sing them, and that was the dynamic. And apart, they were okay, but they never got that dynamic back, and they hated each other so much because of ego. And so whenever they wanted to make some money, they would just come back together, and it was magic again every single time. But man, Paul Simon by himself doesn't get enough love, in my opinion. But
yeah, for sure. And just as a guitarist.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, oh, man, if we got to talking about guitarists, there's Eric Clapton, too. Oh, never mind. Not going to talk about it.
Yeah, that would take forever
Can't get into it.
Talk about guitarists. And just the state of Texas. Man, there's some...
Yeah.
Ooh, man. Just in the state of Texas, we could talk about slayers on guitar. Good Lord. I mean, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Joe Bonamassa, we got Allie Venable. I don't know if you know Allie, but she's killing it, and just so many people. But Zach, I appreciate you being on the show, man. Where can people follow along with everything you got going on? I know I have your and your webpage right there on the screen. That's been there the whole time, so hopefully people will follow along. But where would you send them?
Everywhere. You can go everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, PayPal, Cash App. Zak Webb Music, ZakWebbMusic. Those videos that I showed you today, those are from Cafe Solo Studios in Denton. That boy, Chris Howard. What's his last name? His name's Chris. His last name, I don't remember, but he'll tell you. But
comment down below, Chris, and thank you for letting us use those videos for sure. Yeah.
Man, Chris, you know me. I sit there and listen to some of these recordings that Chris do, and I just sit there and cry because they sound so good, so good. Studio super professional. If you want to book, holla at Shayberry at yahoo.com. Shayberry, once again, thank you very much. I love you so much. I don't even know if this is the section to be saying my thank yous and stuff, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop talking.
No, you're good, man. Zak Webb is the man. Zak Webb, ZAKWEBB. Music.com. I'm not spelling music for y'all, okay? I'm telling you, so many times people are like, how come you don't spell out music? I'm not doing it. MUSIC. But anyway, Zach, thank you so much for your time, man. I hope you had a good time.
Oh yeah, it was great. I loved it.
Awesome.
Hey guys, this is Clint Offord. Thank you guys so much for watching the Boston Chris Show.